Morning all, it's coffee time again. You might even be able to hear the wind howling past the extension today. We're in the middle of Storm Bala, and yes, it's been going on all night. So where am I broadcasting from today? Well, I'm broadcasting from the front room. It's been a bit of a night, and looking at I'm even up and dressed early. So yeah. So an update on the oil thing yesterday that I had a huge rant and moan about. Well, in a weird twist of fate, turns out I actually managed to get the oil ordered and it's come through cheaper. Found a new site. Somebody recommended it to me, so unfortunately the cooperative's loss is my gain, I'm afraid. But yeah, so anyway, I've got the oil and it's coming through cheaper, so that's good. But a random thought occurred to me last night, as they do. We're living in this world now where everything can be delivered at the touch of a button, and it is pretty much anything and everything you want. Groceries, cars, clothes, oil, anything that you require. You just have to sit, when you can do it on your phone if you need to. I'm not a big fan of doing everything on my phone, ordering on my phone. I'm still a little bit old fashioned. I just do it on my laptop or tower, but that's my whole thing about the internet being something you go to and use, and not the internet being something that you carry around with you. But yeah, this random thought. We're supposed to be hunter-gatherers, and even the act of, should we say, physical shopping, going out, going down, parking the car or walking down to the shops, walking around the store, picking whatever you need, maybe that in some way that sort of ticked that hunter-gatherer need in your brain, and now doing it all online, you're not even getting that sort of satisfaction. So yeah. And the other thing was, we watched a documentary last night on QAnon. Oh yeah. As somebody who is very interested in history and by part conspiracy theory, because conspiracy theory is certainly part of our post-war history. There have been things that have been covered up, and like things like the JFK assassination, things like that. Conspiracy theory, it may have started before, but it definitely started after the Second World War. And this QAnon movement or whatever, yeah, I didn't realise it had so much traction in the UK. I thought it was a purely American thing. I can see how it works, and I should have brought them up actually. The 10 arguments of the 10 or 11 logical arguments. It was an awful lot of, what's it called? The 10 logical fallacies. Here we are. Yeah. Yes, that's the one. The false dichotomy fallacy. That's the one I was looking for. Yeah, I mean, like the guy doing the documentary said, they have a kernel of truth in them. There's a little bit of truth in what they say, and because of this kernel of truth, then they expect you to believe their whole viewpoint. if X equals Y, then it should also equal Z. Well, that's not how it works, but that's how QAnon, and from what I saw in the documentary, seems to work. They say, well, this, he didn't go into examples. He was more interested in interviewing some of the people, and when he asked some of the people up there, I didn't even think they were awkward questions. They just exploded at him. Now, there's a thing about that as well, a psychological condition. It's sort of confirmation bias. I need to find that as well and talk about that. It's when you're presented with something that you don't. Basically, how it works is if you hold a belief, and it's a strongly held belief, if you're presented with verbal evidence that challenges that belief, you will have a physical reaction, and you will feel it will kick in, basically the fight or flight reflex when somebody challenges your beliefs. So these people get very angry, which is the fight reflex, obviously, when their beliefs are challenged. And the name for it escapes me. Just give me a second to have a quick Google. It's not called confirmation bias, it's called something else. So there's so many pop-ups on this thing that I'm trying to read an article, and it's just... Let's have a look. Doesn't have a name. But yeah, there's a psychological condition that if your beliefs are challenged, then you will physically get angry in the fact, and then it's very difficult to have a logical argument with someone who's emotionally upset. And that was what I saw in that Q documentary. Now I know it's a thing and when it works, and when I do these videos I try and do them off the cuff because I'm practicing speaking off the cuff and having a flow and a rhythm so I don't sound like a robot. But also we need to understand what these arguments are and not fall into the traps of like straw man fallacy and ad hominem and all the rest of it. Understand what they are so we can see them when they're used against us. I will find out what it's called. Okay, this is important. I'm going to read through it all now as I found it. It's called the backfire effect. A few years ago at the University of South California Brain and Creativity Institute, a study was conducted where participants were placed into an MRI machine. Once inside, they were presented with counter-arguments to their strongly held political beliefs. A few examples were, laws restricting gun ownership should be made more restrictive. Gay marriage should be legalised. This is in America. As participants were read these counter-arguments, various parts of their brains were scanned for activity. What the study revealed was the same part of the brain that responds to a physical threat also responds to an intellectual threat. This area of the brain is known as the amygdala, amygdala, or whatever it is. Unfortunately, it makes us biologically wired to react to threatening information the way we'd react to being attacked by a perpetrator. From an evolutionary standpoint, it makes sense. If you were a caveman and another caveman threw a boulder at your head, you wouldn't react by logically debating the pros and cons of getting hit on the head with a rock. Core beliefs are the beliefs which people cherish the most deeply. They usually develop from childhood and are compounded by life experience. Core beliefs are inflexible, rigid, and incredibly sensitive to being challenged. It is why we have the backfire effect. It's a biological way of protecting your own worldview. Just remember that your worldview isn't perfect. This is a long piece. So yeah, backfire effect. This guy was questioning the people in queue, and because they'd latched onto it and they'd thought they'd found something, it was really triggering their backfire effect. So the next time you see a piece of news and the next time you see something, think about the backfire effect. Think about how words can have a physiological effect on people and make them angry. Anyway, that's all I've got to say now. Peace out, have a good day.